same drop here, once you fail that region, losing your head, that same region there is pretty much the same frame that you're going to focus on when you're around here. So you're watching the same range, and if that fails, that's when you're going to hit that 190 region, because you're just going to look for a lower low before a bounce. So your linear regression line needs to pretty much be on an angle from 206 down to 196. This becomes a wedge setup. That's why if we fail here at the 209, our 211 was our major break of structure, where once we failed, we knew we were bearish. That's why we set that horizontal line up, because it's the same way we're using each time. I use this since last week: the break above entry, the break below drop, the break above entry, and drop currently. That's why we set a shared support resistance line, because that's always our confirmation line to do whatever direction we want to take a trade in. So this is a good one to short for, when is that short? That short's supposed to happen. What are we looking for? We're looking for a bull trap. This will be a lower high hidden, meaning once we break above this line again at 211, we potentially retest 213 on this pop. So you're going to catch maybe a 207 and 213, and then from there take that drop down to 209. But long time frame, this is going to build up. This is a real ugly chop. 207, 222. Okay. Let's see what's the worst. Yeah, this is the worst case of the hourly. So only if it goes under 207, 206 is when I'm going to look for this short. But if you guys play Tesla, just let me know so I can constantly update you on this. Tesla, you know, is on like a 5-day range trade. So these are things you have to hold for a good bit, like almost on a weekly contract. So be very careful when it's chopping, because the theta will just eat you alive. SPY, we know where our target is, so we're just keep an eye on here, the 44 range. AMD has a very small window. It's only a 168 to 170. You're waiting for this confirmation drop below here and to hit this region here at 168.47. If we do, we can take this 2-point run up. But let this drop. That's your reversal right there. If it gets a bearish engulfing, that means you start your count drop. So wait for the drop on AMD. And you're looking for an entry around 168.42 for this one. And your range high is 169.88. So it's about a 1.5 points. BABA is on a lower low, higher high. So that means you're going to be looking for this range. If it breaks 73 out of this chop, this can be retesting up to 79. This is actually a nice one to watch, but there's still a little bit of chop. Should be by 1400. So by 2 o'clock today, New York time. So this one's a nice one that could be played out once it breaks. Where are we right now? Once it breaks above 73.78, you can have a potential run to 79.81. You will have your confirmation above 74.50, target point at 75.71, 77.74, and 79.01. This one's worth a watch today. So let's set up our trade window. This needs to go from here to here. Confirmation has to be above this region chop here. And this is your chop from back here. I'm going to remove this level here. Potential drop. So this is still your potential drop down to 7. So the only way you're going to look for this to be bullish and breakout, which is happening right now, is maintains this higher low, breaks above 73.79 to 74.51, which I would still wait for this just for the simple fact that this melt up is pretty big anyways, that you don't need to anticipate it too much, because if you have a chop here, has a bull chop at 73.79, you could retest to 71.50. So let it get out of its range before you make a decision on this. I would start looking at this, like I said, around 1 to 1:30. Breakout should be around 2 o'clock. So just we'll keep an eye on that today. We'll set an alert right here. 73, 62, 64. I'll set an alert so we don't have to stay watching it. Google still on the up. Let's see where there is. They have a correction, but it might not happen just yet. Not worth it. 140, there's a 50-cent move. I wouldn't watch Google anytime soon. It has a higher low, which is great. Higher high means a trap, but this is the buildup we're looking for, which will be by the 20th, which is Friday. If it breaks 147, you're going to be looking at this point here as a confirmation break above 109. That's your first break for continuation, but 151 will be your target. So what you're going to look for is to get out of the chop from 147.15 to 147.80. Once you break there, you can take your first range at 149, reset play at 148.43 for that 151.61, or just make sure you have enough time for the Thursday run up. But these are all higher lows to watch. We've been watching these since 43. So this is the range. This would be your flag up. So once you break out of this flag range here, will you connect to run up? You know, usually it'll be 146.81. That's when you're breaking this wedge. But you want to take the 147.15 as a confirmation that it's actually breaking up. And then you still have 2 points for this initial play if you're just doing a short swing. But if you're doing a few days, you can see the 151s. Look what those contracts are at. I would look at 147, 148, 149, and 150. Just like we played SPY, go $1 increments and play up to the 3 points first. Because remember, we're making what 300 to 500% just off this 1 point. Don't focus too much on this. We can do that on the next drop, like when we took our 488, 489, or 478, 479. Then we went to 480, 481, 482, 483. So break these trades in 2 sections. You know, get the maximum on the window within the small variation of points. I really think gonna try to push till this week. Meta has sold 383, and we're gonna try for 3 top here to 403. So your next shared resistance point and breakout will be over here at 391. This will be your shared point that you're gonna have to break above. So this will be your confirmation bounce. Once you break here, you're gonna take target at 399. Once you bounce at 391, then you're gonna play the 403. So there's 2 plays that you can do right here. Your confirmation break above is 388 for Meta. We'll see where we have our potential entries if we chop low. This next drop will higher low will give you your next entry for Meta. Let's see, you're at the 0012. Only reversal is on the fourth candle, 6. You have to stay above 385.70 to be bullish. There's going to be an HNS range. Watch. Let's see where we can get an entry here. I'm going to set this range here. Our breakout is our hold line for now. Let's see if it does. I'll set an alarm on there. Touches. I'm going to set an alarm here of 87 for us as well. So at 387.42 breaks our range high right here. That means we have our continuation from there. Microsoft is on a rising wedge. That's higher highs for here, meaning that we have already broke our 395.96 range. You have to have your next top test as long as you stay above that 398.90. And I would take profit around that region and then watch the range up or this tomorrow where you can enter these next plays. Once that breaks, you're going to target up to 408.6. So this chop range here, this is your wedge breakout following like this. Kind of like what you did here. You had the following wedge, hit this one up here. This is pretty much your repetition that you're going to watch as long as you break 398. This range here is going to be your range when you break out here to here. You're just playing the same window. They're just repeating the algorithm. So just keep an eye on the range high. That's why I said these ranges, this little range is important in your chop to break, which is only 3 points. But as you can see, you have a 10-point run up. So Microsoft is another good one to watch this week. I don't like NVIDIA that much today. Yeah, and if you have any tickers you want, just let me know. I can look up any tickers and give you a general run up. This is my NVIDIA setup. If you're 598.03, watching the 617, 625 to 629. And you have to maintain above 586, but 598 to 603 is your most important range for your breakout. And then it'll be a choppy flag up, so it's not going to be a fast money, except for the first and the secondary drop. That's going to be where your best range is for your pop-ups for NVIDIA. And we were in this, watching this trade since here at 564, 574. We set our breakout line above this, and we took that breakout. So I said, if you look at my charts, I have it set up for almost easy for a week. You just got to look at the ticker and just look up the most updated chart on there. PayPal, like we said, we're watching this chop at 65.86 to 62. If it fails to break 65, you can do a puts down to 62.51. Confirmation of this put, once it retests 65.86, is when it retests and fails the line at 65.08 the second time, not the first pop, because you got to remember this is going to be a pop. Wait for the secondary rejection at 65.86 and then drop. You have to see the lower high and then the confirmation. So you're not going to take, if this bounces here, you're not going to take this one here. You're going to take this drop right here. So this is where you're watching this failed drop. That's where you can take this short. You want to make sure that this holds this gap bar right here for this bounce up. Always wait, because remember, you always have time for the trend, but you know that this trend is just a minor pop, which is an ABC run up, but it becomes a lower high. The lower high from this region where we broke at 67.48, this 2-point drop here lower lets you know automatically that there's no more volume, no more buying pressure, that people are going to start to sell off. So that's when you want to make sure that you watch the range that you break below, which is your resist, your breakout here, right? For confirmation will be your shared line here. That's going to be when you decide to take this short. So be patient on it. Set an alarm right above it. I'll go right above 65.12. And these are, if you got, when you're paying for TradingView, like the higher pros and premiums, see those alerts going off. That's what makes, it's not just the indicators, it's the alerts helps you so much, because if you're watching several stocks, instead of you having to chart it every day, you already have your region. All you had to do was set an alert for every target point up. And when you hear it, you're like, oh, take profit. Oh, stop loss. I didn't go through SPX. I was on buy. SPX, you're going to watch this chop right here. And if you, oh, I did go through it earlier. 4858 and 4810, the 40-point spread. But right here is the region you're watching low. That's why you're going to wait till it hits the 4858 for this range here. And back to SPY, we're still testing here. We hit our 484 almost, and if you have continuation, you're going to retest up to 484.34 is what you're watching for right now. What did I say those contracts should be? But that was just a quick rundown on all the minus Walmart. Walmart's just staggering. There's the H&S higher low. Lower low drop. But it's all 1 point. It's not that satisfying. But the drop is where you want to watch. Take that drop and follow up. This is the run up you're gonna watch for. Break above this region from 241 to 472. And all we're retesting was all these points, right? So we're just recycling these pivot points. You can use these same target points up. You're using my, on your options play. But I spread it apart because the gap was so big that this would be actual continuation from this range up. So 162 to 162.51 is my confirmation break for the run up to 163.59 to 164.70. If y'all write that down, y'all can set your alerts. Confirmation breakout means for this, just set one right anywhere above here, and you know that once it breaks that line, you have a good play for this range up here. You can set your target here as your first take profit, second take profit target here. I always go a little lower because of the shift potential of the buy and sell when it's up top. So if I'm looking at that, literally just looking at these three major lines. Entry, target, target. Oh, I'm going to lower this to 164.50 or 52 because that's the first. Because it could probably fail and just drop here and retest that. So I'm going to take the first wick up. I want to keep trying to practice the count. Practice the counts. So once you guys get that down, then you can easily find plays. There's a lot of folks that learn stuff and then they leave. But you got to remember, a lot of the stuff that I teach, it's only partial of like a puzzle. Like you learn how to put pieces together, and that's why you continuously grow. And if there's any deviations in the market, you have to know how to attack it. You have to know how to learn it. So because if they catch on to a lot of people learning how, of course they're eventually going to have to shift it. So you have to always stay on it. See, there's those crossings, the alerts we hit. And Apple's been on my watch for a while. Look, CLNE, the one I was talking about a week ago, from 129 and then went to 387 and took a hard drop. But that's how I don't even get to play a lot of the options. But yeah, all these, it's so easy to play it when you're just watching these alerts. I know, if have your entire watch list that you're watching. Focus on 5 to 10 different tickers and find out all your levels that you need. When you get that, you can easily trade it. And that's what how to use your alerts. Remember here, you have your chop. When I said before, you always have to maintain candlesticks low before, and this means that this range here would be the 483.77 must be maintained. If you get another candlestick high, that means you're going to retest 484.20 and make 483.58 your brand new support. So that means your chop range shifts up the same percentage level, but just at a higher note. So you're watching this 0-0. This is count 1 right now. Restart of your doji. It's easier to keep it from 1 to 13 or 1 to 9, like that. You can count here. This will probably be like 17. If you had 0-0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. But when you're going to have a restart point and continuation, keep it at 369, 369. See, you're talking about DWAC. I haven't looked at that since 2021. Nice. You're going to be looking for your resistance here. Confirmation break above 59. Targets at 57.75 and 59.90 for DWAC. Trader Ninja. Well, gonna post. Nice one, bud. You on count 0013. This will give you count 6 to 59.875. Nice work. No problem. Did we hold our level? Watch this, because this inverse hammer, the red hammer, is a correction drop. You're going to be looking at the 483. You dropped those lines already. Yeah, this is the gap bar we have to. Like I said, these are just small chops. Today's options are 5 of those probably get best, but in an hour we're gonna get onto that one. I'll keep this alert box on, so if Babel pops up, just take a watch at it. If you look over here on your days of all your alerts that you set up, it'll tell you which tickers are actually popping on as your alert. just a theta move right here for SPY. Yeah, it's lunchtime. That's why there's not. We'll move for another at least half hour. Too much. So if you're gonna look at these, you're gonna look at 483s, 484s for the next. Close this while it's up. It ain't gonna. This drop here, you're gonna be testing these wicks right here on your range. So this is your range chop from price point here. To here. This will be your chop low high, but this will be your actual chop window right here. How far can we get? Yeah. So I'm gonna look for if we can maintain above the 483 on this 484, 485s first. Well, I have a 484 already, so I'm probably look for 45s, and if you can get those, you can look at those 0 DTEs. The 484s are back to 44 cents. 485s are 15 cents. The 486 are 5 cents. So if you can maintain above the 483 and take this break above 484, I'll take a couple of small contracts. $486, I wouldn't go $486 because $486 probably won't. You might get some points on it on the run up, but it's too far out. I'm just very finicky. I would take just 483, 84. I'm watching, waiting for the bounce before I do these. Yeah. Because if it doesn't, correction, you get a trade ring for tomorrow. So just be careful. It has to break this to take any additional range highs. Right now, we're showing a put. If it fails, it's 483s. Just wait for the drop before you enter any calls. It's just that's why. Just said wait. $43.65 fails and 43 pause. The shop window is very, very finicky. Just be careful with it. This is your whole range. It's breaking the low. One more candlestick down gives you the rest of the confirmation out of this chop zone. Your MACD, you can see from here, you've had lower highs. There's your confirmation of this drop. You're looking for here is your low, and for a bounce, you need a low. So you're gonna take the drop support when it hits this line right there. But it's all 1 point. Literally not much printing on the fly. Tomorrow is going to be a juicy day, so we'll get up nice and early tomorrow, because we'll be set up for it. Baba, remember we said break up here. This is the one you're watching. Watching this zone right here. This is where your melt is going to start. Wait for this next drop point, 73.67. Higher high at 73.79. Watch that range. As long as you have a higher low, 72 next, that will be a nice run up for that melt. Just wait for those breaks. Right now you have a diversion of these drops, so just be patient. You're going to try to catch this target points here. Stay above this. And then break this. The chop zone high is the 73.62 and break above 73.85 for your comp. And look, this, if we drag the 73.62 over, that's your range drop that you're looking for. This entry if it holds. Watching this chop zone hardcore, it's only about the 60-70 cent range chop zone. But if you hold this range, that's where you want to make sure you get this drop. Oops, see? That's why I say hold range. Because before this pop, they're going to be very finicky. Shift your lows to watch your entry around 73.56. Still using the 73.62 to 73.65 thereafter as your confirmation range entry point. So watch for this drop from Baba. You should be taking this drop until 13:57, so at 2 New York time, Eastern time. We'll put a vertical line there, and 1427 hours at higher location of this mountain. Five pounds in here, you should have your still continuation drop here at 483.31 as your drop support if it fails here before your next run. So this is your higher low bounce create here. So watch for this candlestick here, which was candlestick count 1 for your reset of this play. That's your range here. Watch. Probably cancel my puts right there here too. These 43 to 42s, and I'll take my puts out. It's not much. It's not moving much. It's only moving 1 to 2 points. Candy cane drop, 3 to 6 point drop, only reversal, fourth candle. Remember that. Once you get the doji to bearish that it's doing now. So you want, let's see, 3, 5, 6, about 6. If it continues down. That's a good drop. Where's Baba? I think I ever played Baba. Their puts. When you're looking for calls, you're gonna be like 70 hard. This is gonna happen. There's a trade set up for tomorrow. You say, oh, this is 3 days. There's 3 days trade. The trade's good for 3 days. It's not bad. If it does go all the way up to 8, the contract's to 36, the 79's 26 cents a contract. Your entry, if you were to take it at 73 to 74, be around 5 to 130. So for me, because of the projection, I wait for it to break these levels, take like this 5 cents. I'll take those cheaper contracts, but I have to have a confirmation or a bounce here. So once I get that confirmation, then I'll take those contracts. So those contracts get a little bit cheaper on this drop here. And you want to confirm that it has a higher location. But you want to make sure that this holds this line from here to here. As long as you can hold this range here, have higher lows on a linear regression, then can you give yourself personal confirmation potential bounce. So drop there. You see that 208. That means it's going to probably try to reject at 209. which is what you want. Drop under 206. Tesla's going to be such a tricky drop. There's a falling wedge. It could take a bounce any time here. See? They're still in range. It's a good pop range to watch, but I know that my target range is still 192 to 196. It's either that or if it breaks above 211, 220. So as long as I maintain under 211, I'm not really playing today. Just looking at these ranges, they're so small. Baba, if it does break, but